I'm Walter White. You've seen me in such fine quality chemistry educational videos as Reviews Are For You, Not Your Family, and Why Do I Need a Review? Part 2.
Okay, this is the Chapter 1 review for the chemistry test. Okay, now this is the first video review that I'm doing for both Chem and Honors Chem while I'm at it. And so I'm going to go through, I've got a list of questions that I have here and some of the slides that I would emphasize on more than others. Because it looks like there's a lot of slides and it's kind of like, well, Mr. Canoe, where am I going to go with this? Where am I going to go? Okay, this slide, absolutely, I would be familiar with it. I would want you to give me examples of matter. Okay, so this is an important slide. I would put a big check mark on this one. This one, no, don't worry about it. This one, I'm not so worried about it. Okay, models, yes, absolutely. I would expect you to know what is science about, what it is not about, and how science uses models. Now, examples of models, sure, we could look at that. Okay, this slide, don't worry about it. Okay. Yes, I would absolutely be familiar with this. How are these models in science useful? Okay, they're workable, they have predictive power. Okay, I would not worry about this slide. Would I be worried a little bit about this? Yeah, I would be. Certainly, it's where did ancient chemistry start? Yes, this is an important slide. Yes, this is also an important slide when we talk about the old school apothecaries. All right. Yeah, I would understand that the Greeks, they didn't do lab experiments and they made connections with gas, liquid, solid, temperature to earth, fire, and water. Yeah, that's fair game. That is fair game. Okay, the alchemists. Yes, absolutely. I would want them to know about that because they did give us some things that were important. Okay? And again, why did they do this? Yeah, that's reasonable. Modern chemistry, I'm not so worried about that. I'm not. Okay? So as we look before I hit into Chapter 1B, okay, so you would need to understand what is chemistry and what is not a part of chemistry. How is it that matter? Where is matter? What does it do in chemistry? Okay, the main goals of science. Why bother with it? That would be something that would be useful. You know, can we predict the absolute truth using science? Yes or no? If it's yes, why? If it's no, then where do we find our source of absolute truth? That would be an important question to look at. Okay? Again, if you stop and think about it, why is it that chemistry has been developed over time? What was the main point? Was it really to make money? Or was it to gain fame? Was it really those two reasons? Or was it something else? Something maybe, I don't know, benefiting humanity maybe? Helping people out? That might be a distinct possibility. But there are limitations as to what science can do. Yeah, I would be familiar with it. There are limits to what the sciences cannot do, so this slide would be important. I would be familiar with this, the idea of the biblical worldview. How is it that we look at this? Okay, creation and fall and redemption. Okay, like a one-line explanation what it is. Okay, creation mandate. Yeah, I would want you to be familiar with it. Now, does this mean memorizing this? No, not memorize so much as understand. Okay, so I could give you a question like, which of the following could you say would be an example of fulfilling this creation mandate? What is it that God wants us to do? Well, let's see, creating products. Well, what do you mean by creating products? Maybe creating a new kind of medicine to help fight migraine headaches. Okay, solving problems. How do we go and take care of an area that they had a drought for 10 years? How can we solve the drought problem? That would be an example of the creation mandate. What about weighing the consequences of actions? If we take the water from this area and bring it over to this area, what's going to be the issues for that? So I'm giving you specific examples, okay, that you should be familiar. Loving my neighbor, how do we actually do this? How do we do that in the context of chemistry? If you stop and think about it, creating products and solving problems, isn't that a way to love your neighbor? Okay. Naturalists, I would expect you guys to know what naturalists are. Okay. I am not worried, do not worry about this slide. Okay. Chemistry in action. Okay. Using scientific approach, quantitative, qualitative data. Very important slide. I would want you to be able to tell me what's involved in that. Okay. Deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning, that is fair. That is fair. Okay. Honors Chem, I'll probably give you guys a situation and I would ask you if it's deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning. Okay? And again, deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning, and I gave you guys some examples for that. Okay? So those slides, number 22 and 23, deductive and inductive reasoning, that would be useful. Okay? This is not an important slide. It's not. Okay, scientific method, yes. I would expect you guys to understand this idea, okay? I am not interested in Dexter, but you should be able to look at these and be able to tell me what that is. Okay, so if you're running a lab experiment and you wrote down all these numbers in your notebook, what would that be an example of? Well, hey, that would be an example of data collection. Okay? Another type of an idea, of a question. Our data has shown that our hypothesis was correct. Well, you could call that a conclusion. Okay? You could call that a conclusion. So, yeah, stuff like that I would expect you to understand. Okay? Observation. This is just giving you examples of what you observe. I can ask you a question about something. You see something. What would that be an example of? A theory, a hypothesis, data gathering, or observation? That would be an example. Okay? A question. Now, in this case here, I gave two experiments that run parallel to each other, and I take you through the process. Okay? I'm trying to pay attention to my time here as well. Okay. Hypothesis. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Experiment variables. Yes, 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 yes. You need to know these. The dependent, independent, and controlled variable. Okay. Remember, I do have a video on the scientific method that you should have watched, so you can cover that. The dependent, independent variable. Okay, controlled variable. Some of you guys on your Simpson thing, you didn't get that, so we may spend a little time on that later on in the week. Okay, what's the point for a control? That would be important. I would probably ask you guys, what is an example of a control? Okay, that would be important. Experiment, doing the data collection. Okay, a conclusion, retesting the hypothesis. Why would we bother to retest? Okay, that would be kind of important. All right, natural experiment, honors chem, you are responsible for that. Okay, regular chem, you are not. Okay, Let's see. This, I am not too worried about that. Okay. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the video. That's it in its entirety. So the test is going to be on multiple choice questions. All right, so there'll be some real life situations where I'm going to be asking you, hey, what is this an example of, or what can we make a conclusion based off of the evidence that we have. I will have you guys go and look at a data table, okay, and let's say the data is numbers. And then I could ask, well, what kind of data is this? Is this quantitative data or qualitative data? Well, it would be quantitative data because it involves numbers. Think quantity, quantitative, numbers. That's the idea. Okay, guys, I tried to keep this one short, and I hope that this will help you guys out. I'll catch you on the flip side.